Welcome back. You're watching Morning Express. Many thanks for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, my name is Jesse Rogers. We take a look at the latest that has been covered on the dailies. Joining me in studio to help us deliberate on this matters, Arthur Odera, who's a former Teso North Member of Parliament. We're also joined by Njuguna Mwangi, who's a governance expert right here in studio, as well as Kasim Tandaza via way of Zoom. He's a Matuga Member of Parliament. Gentlemen, many thanks for your time. Let's continue interrogating this matters. Njuguna Mwangi, your take on the latest plight on the places of worship in terms of the new restrictions. The nation definitely did go big on their plight, highlighting some of the issues they pick in terms of the congregation that has been banned, at least for now, within the 5 counties, with the other counties being required to at least adhere to the distance of 1.5 meters in terms of seating capacity. Talk to us about this.
I think it's very important that all of us as Kenyans appreciate the fact that we are in a very difficult time, and this is a fight that is not a fight that should be left just to the government, but everybody, every citizen must actually take responsibility to make sure that we fight this pandemic as one people. And the churches, religious groups, you can never do away with the religion when you're making decisions about anything in the country.
Yeah.
And we need to appreciate the fact that these institutions have actually been very, very, they have actually been very important in everything that we have been doing as a nation. And it's also good that the government itself, I think, we have a challenge with the trust that the people have towards their government.
Okay.
Because when you look at the measures that have been put in place, the Minister of Health measures that have actually been outlined, you realize that Kenyans are really feeling like the government has not been fair enough, because sometimes you wonder, when you go to the transport industry, you find that the matatus and all these public transport people, they are just carrying the passengers in almost in the normal way, the way they used to do, even if they have reduced the numbers.
Yeah.
But then you wonder, if these people are not really maintaining the social distance,
okay,
whom amongst them, between the public transport and something like the church, where can we be in a position to have people who are disciplined? And I think that is where the question about on the churches is coming in, because they feel like they are being undermined somehow. The churches are being undermined. And I think the most important thing is for the government to have a clear communication to the citizens and let the citizens have trust in their own government.
Yes.
Because the reason why they don't trust the government is because they don't really follow or implement the measures that they give. Because like the matatus and all those, they should be, the traffic police should actually be very keen on the same. When it comes to the churches, for example, in the 5 counties that are actually experiencing this lockdown,
okay,
the question that we should ask the government is, we would have expected that when we have this lockdown, we see a rigorous exercise of vaccination and find ourselves getting a lot of testing everywhere in these 5 counties. But the unfortunate thing is that even after locking these counties down, we do not see any different approach to the issue of COVID. We still see in the same 5 counties, we still see whatever is happening in the other counties is the same with this lockdown area.
Okay.
So we need to see a proactive government that is actually doing the exercise of vaccination very seriously. In fact, I would even feel that the churches could have been given an opportunity to operate with while maintaining those measures, and then the government can take the advantage of those people who are in the churches to do the vaccination and do the testing.
Okay.
So that's the challenge we have, because it's like the government is now waiting for another wave to come. Will we keep on going forward and backward? We need to have a government that is actually foreseeing situations, because now we are in the wave 3. Then we're going to flatten the curve. then we open up the economy. How do we know? We can find ourselves even in the fifth wave. Will we go back again to the lockdown? I mean, the government should be serious a bit and do something that is, they do different, these things differently.
Definitely, a lot of emphasis, as many stakeholders are saying, should be put on the vaccination drive. Yeah. Well, the government seems to have taken the hint, even though some counties are lagging behind. And we'll get to discuss about this later on, because Nairobi has 57% in terms of the numbers vaccinated, while Lamu only has 182 vaccinated cases. So we'll interrogate that even as we go on. But be that as it may, that's the highlighting effect or the issues we're trying to highlight around the churches, even as Christians marked a low-key Easter and hotels reported up to 90% decline in sales and tourist bookings. That's been highlighted on the papers. Gentlemen, as we conclude with press review, it's all about the BBI hurdle and why June or July referendum is highly unlikely. I'll start with the Member of Parliament amongst us. Kasim Tandaza, we well know that Parliament did take a 1-month recess, but according to the schedule, Parliament should have concluded with the BBI bill by today, paving way for a referendum by June 6th. That was the estimated date. Talk to us about this and what challenges might lie in place in terms of the drive for constitutional reforms.
Well, about the BBI, I think it is all about the proponents, that is the handshake partners. And for this case, I want to be very blunt. It will all boil down to His Excellency Uhuru and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, whether they want it passed or not. It's unfortunate to take that angle because as it stands now, the BBI belongs to the people. People appended their signatures, over 1 million people. So essentially it should be belonging to the people. But be as it is now, the reality is that it will depend on the proponents, that is the two handshake partners. About the timelines, I don't think there's still cause for worry. As we went on to recess, we agreed that our meetings, our deliberations in terms of committees will go on via technology as it is, as we are doing this conferencing now, as we are doing this review right now. So a lot of work is going on. And if it comes to timelines, I think these can always be altered by now that the document is within the prescripts of Parliament. We have the powers to redraw the timelines. But to me, from where I sit, I think the date of June, July is still attainable if the proponents, the handshake partners, want it to be the referendum to be held by that time. If they are no longer interested, for sure, then we'll have the circus that we are finding, the unnecessary noise, which I keep referring to, because our role as Parliament, basically, we would have debated it even for a few minutes, and our yes or no has no effect on that document. It will still have to go to the president and the referendum will still come. So the other obstacles that seem to be cropping up every now and then, I think they're quite unnecessary. The referendum debate has taken a lot of our time. It has taken a lot of resources in terms of time, even if not just directly money. To me, it is a document that we should do away with. Let it go to the public. Let the public decide. If it's yes, very well. If not, they'll have decided and we go on with our lives. Given that right now, with the COVID pandemic, I think what should be worrying everybody now is the economic status. And that is where I think all the efforts should be geared to, having the referendum behind us.
Okay, so Kasim Tandaza, we're talking of a case where Nairobi is actually leading in terms of those vaccinated with 50, with actually a high number, but we're looking at Lamu with only 182 vaccinated cases, the lowest in the country so far. So talk to us about this. Is it a case of inadequate awareness and sensitization, especially in counties that are heavily influenced by traditional beliefs, or if this is all pointing to the haphazard manner in which the vaccination program has been approached with the relative authorities?
I'm looking at it differently, Jesse, because when you talk of Lamu with the least number and Nairobi with the highest number, I'm comfortable talking about the percentages because the percentages actually would give a true picture of the uptake. Remember, Lamu is it's the smallest county in Kenya with the most logistical problems, issues. If you've been to Lamu, you will be talking of Lamu town. To reach Lamu town, you will need to go by air or by road and ultimately by water before you reach Lamu town. When you talk about the other sub-counties, especially Lamu East, it will take like 2 days for one to reach in Lamu town. I'm assuming the vaccination can only be done at the King Fahad Hospital, where probably there are those adequate storage facilities. So to me, the low uptake generally in the country, I would mainly attribute it to logistical problems. And I agree, this was an emergency. Nobody could have budgeted, even in Parliament, we could not have budgeted for it for the in the last budget. We are only grappling with supplementary budgets. But to me, it is upon the government, upon the ministry. And I think from where I sit as a parliamentarian, we've been quite of much help. I don't think they've requested for funds to fight COVID, which we've turned down. In fact, we've been very proactive in providing for funds. But again, the elephant in the room, which would finally worry everybody, is even after the funds are released, our own funds, not the billions, the loans, is it going to be used prudently to reach the local Mwananchi, the person who really needs this vaccine? Because to me, the main problem is actually in the villages. We might think that COVID is not in the villages, but that is because they don't have even the equipment to actually the tests. Most of the villagers are not able to go for this test, and therefore they assumed it is not there. And that is where the focus should be. Let it be available. Let the ministry move with speed to sort out those logistical problems, especially to the rural counties and to the rural folk, and let it be free ultimately to everybody. Okay. The issue of commercializing the vaccine is very unfortunate because the majority of Kenyans cannot even afford 3 meals in a day. How are they going to afford 7,000, 10,000 for a vaccine? And yet they need it most. So to me, I would really implore the Ministry of Health to sort out the issues of logistics. Otherwise, I don't think now, with the current information out there, people are really skeptical about taking this jab.
Okay, well, more awareness and sensitization is definitely needed, even as we're expecting an additional 2.5 million doses in May this particular year. We'll continue monitoring the state of the vaccination program in the country. Let's take a short break.